After 14 years of supporting my family, my parents texted, "We've carried you long enough. Lose our number." I texted back, "Okay, I'm canceling every payment tonight." When everything was cut, they started begging me to stop. Sup, Reddit? So I've been my family's ATM for 14 years until I found their group chat where they called me toxic and kicked me out, not knowing I could see every word they typed. I, a 36-year-old male, work in supply chain for a regional freight company, and I've been my family's personal bank for 14 years. Nobody asked if I wanted the job, they just started treating me like I had it, and I was too stupid to say no. Saturday night at Romano's, my brother Dylan's engagement dinner, the whole family showed up to celebrate him finally locking down a woman willing to marry his unemployed behind. Maris was her name. Sweet girl, way too good for him. She didn't know she was about to marry into a family of professional leeches. I got there at 6 because I'm punctual, like an idiot. The table was already packed with aunts, uncles, cousins, and Maris's parents looking like they'd wandered into the wrong restaurant. Mom waved me over with that fake enthusiasm she reserved for when she needed something. Dylan stood up and grabbed me in one of those aggressive bro hugs that's really just an excuse to pat yourself on the back for having emotions. We'd never been close. He was 3 years younger and spent most of his adult life explaining why his latest business idea was about to make him rich. Dinner was theater. Dylan held court about his new consulting venture, which was code for texting people on LinkedIn and calling it networking. Maris's parents smiled like hostages. Mom and Dad beamed like he'd invented electricity instead of burning through his 4th business plan in 3 years. Nobody asked what I did at work. Nobody asked how I was doing. I was furniture that occasionally dispensed money. Around dessert, Dad stood up with his water glass, doing that thing where middle-aged men think they're giving the State of the Union. He toasted Dylan and Maris, talking about new beginnings and bright futures, like Dylan hadn't moved back home twice in the last 5 years. Then Dylan got up for his own speech, because one toast wasn't enough attention. He pointed at me with his water glass, the kind of gesture that means you're about to be volunteered for something you didn't agree to. I gotta thank my brother, too, the most reliable dude I know. Seriously, bro, you're like a walking insurance policy, always there when things get real. A few people laughed. Mom actually said, "That's our boy," like I was a trained dog doing tricks. Aunt Drusilla jumped in from down the table. "He never complains. That's real family loyalty right there." Dad nodded. "He's our emergency fund." He said it with a smile, like it was a compliment, like reducing me to a financial instrument was something I should be proud of. Maris's mom looked confused. "Emergency fund?" "Oh, he helps out when we hit rough patches," Mom explained casually. "Business has ups and downs, you know. He's got that steady corporate paycheck, so he covers things when cash gets tight, right?" Every person at that table turned to look at me, waiting for confirmation that I was, in fact, their backup checking account. I smiled, nodded, said what I always said. "Happy to help." Dylan clapped me on the shoulder. "See, this is why he's the man. No drama, just handles business." The conversation moved on. Maris asked about honeymoon ideas. Mom suggested venues. Dad made a joke about venue packages. Everyone laughed. I sat there holding my water glass, wondering when I'd become the punchline to a joke I didn't know I was telling. The check came around 8:30. Waiter dropped it near Dad's elbow. Dad glanced at it like he'd seen a spider. He looked at Dylan. Dylan suddenly needed to check his phone. Mom became very interested in her napkin. The silence lasted maybe 10 seconds, long enough for Maris's parents to shift uncomfortably, long enough for Maris to clock Dylan staring at his phone like it was going to pay the bill. Dad cleared his throat. "You mind grabbing this one? We'll square up later." Square up later. The same lie I'd heard since 2011. The same promise that never materialized because somehow later never arrived. I pulled out my card, handed it to the waiter. Nobody said thank you. The table just exhaled and went back to wedding talk, like I'd done them a small favor instead of dropping $380 on a celebration for someone else's relationship. Dylan didn't even acknowledge it, just kept talking about the venue they were touring next weekend. Mom asked Maris about bridesmaids. Dad ordered another Diet Coke. I got my card back, signed the receipt, put it in my wallet. Around 9, I made noise about early morning work stuff and headed out. Dylan gave me another aggressive hug. "Thanks for coming, man, and for dinner, you're a real one." Not "thank you,"
just acknowledgement that I'd performed my function correctly. I drove home in silence, with that receipt in my center console like evidence of a crime I couldn't quite name yet. Back at my apartment, I made some eggs and sat down to do what I did every other Tuesday. Review my automated transfers, make sure nothing bounced, keep the family machine running smooth. That's when my phone lit up. Group chat notification. Aunt Drusilla added me to a conversation. I opened it, expecting to see some family update, standard procedure, maybe someone needed help with something, maybe Dad's business hit another cash flow issue, maybe Dylan needed money for the wedding venue. The participant list: Mom, Dad, Dylan, Maris, Aunt Drusilla, and now me. Everyone who mattered, apparently. I stared at the screen. No notification that I'd been added appeared in the chat itself. Aunt Drusilla must have added me quietly. The others didn't know I was here, and they were still typing. Dylan, finally, this has been overdue. Mom, some people never understand their place in a family. They think money makes them important. Dad, we've been too generous, too patient with his attitude. My chest felt tight. They were talking about me right now, and they had no idea I could see it. I watched the messages keep coming. Dylan, we need to discuss him. Dude's been acting like he's doing us some huge favor lately. Maris, what's his problem? Dylan, he acts all superior. Every time I mention the business, he gets this judgmental look, like his corporate job makes him better. Mom, he's always been entitled like that, thinks regular paychecks mean something special. Aunt Drusilla, some people forget that family isn't about money. It's pathetic how he holds it over everyone. I put my phone on the counter, picked it up, read it again. Judgmental, superior, entitled, holding it over everyone. This was me. They were describing the guy who'd covered their mortgage payments, their insurance, their business loans for over a decade. The guy who just paid $380 for their celebration dinner 2 hours ago without being asked. They thought I was the problem. Dad, time to set some boundaries. He's not welcome around here until he drops the attitude and remembers his place. Mom, agreed. We've supported him emotionally for years, always so cold and moody at gatherings, like we owe him something. Carried me emotionally? I actually laughed. The guy who'd never asked them for $1, who'd never burdened them with my problems while solving theirs, that guy needed emotional support. Dylan, should we just kick him or make him apologize first? Maris, kick him. He won't change anyway. Aunt Drusilla, sometimes you cut toxic people off, even if they're blood. Better for everyone's mental health. Then Mom's message appeared, the one that made my hands go cold. They were still talking like I wasn't watching. Mom, we've carried you long enough. Lose our number. Should I send this? What do you guys think? I watched the reactions pop up in real time. Aunt Drusilla with a thumbs up emoji right there under the message exiling me from my family. The same aunt whose divorce costs I'd covered in 2021. The same aunt who'd called me crying about her mortgage, who I'd helped with a loan that vanished into the void like all the others. She approved of cutting me off, and she'd added me silently just to make sure I saw it happen. Dylan, finally, tired of him acting like he's doing us favors when family should just help. Maris, some people create unnecessary drama wherever they go. Drama. From the guy who sat quietly at family dinners, who transferred money without asking questions, who left events early to avoid making waves.
The typing bubbles kept bouncing. They weren't done yet. Maybe this teaches him some humility about what really matters. Let's see how superior he feels without family support and connections. Without family support. The words just sat there on my screen like a joke that forgot to have a punchline. I set my phone down, looked at my laptop still open to my banking dashboard. The screen full of automatic transfers I managed like it was a second job. Their lives running on my credit score and my direct deposit. They thought they were cutting me off. They genuinely believed they were the ones providing support. I could have explained. Could have pulled up 14 years of bank statements, could have shown them exactly who was supporting whom in this arrangement, could have written a long message defending myself, justifying my existence, proving my worth through spreadsheets and receipts. Instead, I typed 8 words. Okay, I'm canceling every payment tonight.
The typing indicator stopped immediately. The chat went dead silent. I cracked my knuckles and opened my banking dashboard. Time to show them what an attitude problem actually costs. The silence after my message felt like those few seconds before a car crash, when you know impact is coming, but you're still gliding forward in slow motion. My laptop glowed in the dark kitchen. Same banking dashboard I'd been managing for 14 years. Same automated transfers running like clockwork. Same financial infrastructure keeping their lives from imploding. Not for much longer. I opened Excel, started documenting. For once, I wanted to see the full damage in one place. Wanted to know exactly what being the family safety net had cost me. 19 automatic transfers running every month, some weekly, some triggered when their accounts dip below certain levels. I'd built systems to solve their problems before they even knew problems existed. Health insurance. Family plan covering Mom, Dad, Dylan, and now Maris, apparently. $1,240 monthly. They'd added Maris when Dylan proposed 4 months ago. Didn't ask, just assumed I'd keep paying. It wasn't through work, private plan, my billing account, my dependents list. Car insurance, 4 vehicles, $385 monthly. Dad's pickup, Mom's SUV, Dylan's BMW he claimed he needed for client meetings, and now Maris's sedan. Never met a client, never paid a premium. Business account backup. My checking linked as overdraft protection because I set it up years ago. Triggered 12 times this year. Average hit, $1,800. They ran Dad's business like a casino with unlimited credit. I was the house that always covered. Property taxes. $520 monthly into an escrow I'd set up when Dad's business tanked in 2018. 7 years of payments. They probably didn't even know I was handling it. Storage unit rental. $175 monthly for Dylan's furniture from his first apartment that he'd move eventually. 3 years. $6,000 to store garbage. The numbers painted a picture I'd been too close to see. $2,320 every month flowing from my accounts to theirs in regular payments, plus another $21,600 this year alone in overdraft bailouts. Almost $50,000 a year, buying me the privilege of being called judgmental at family dinners. I went deeper, pulled statements back to the beginning. First transfer was March 2011. Mom's emergency dental work insurance wouldn't cover because Dad forgot to pay premiums. $3,200. I was 22, barely making decent money, and I sent it same day because that's what family does. That was the test. Proof I was reliable. Proof I didn't ask questions. Proof I'd show up with money when they called. Total documented transfers over 14 years, $412,000. Not loans, gifts. Money given freely to people currently discussing my attitude problem in a group chat I wasn't invited to. I could have bought a house with that, could have retired early, could have done literally anything except fund 3 failed businesses, 4 cars, and a lifestyle they thought they'd earned. My phone sat dark on the counter. Not a single follow-up message, no concern about what cancel every payment actually meant. They probably thought I was posturing, making noise like someone desperate to be included. They were about to get an education. Here's what 14 years as the invisible family accountant teaches you. You know every password, every account number, every automated system. You've got documentation for everything because nobody else kept records.
I started small. Streaming services, Netflix, Hulu, Spotify, HBO, all under my email and payment. Click, cancel, confirm, done. $65 in monthly entertainment gone in 4 minutes. Gym memberships. Dylan's bougie CrossFit place he posted about but attended maybe twice a month. $95 monthly. Canceled. App subscriptions, cloud storage, magazine renewals, random stuff they'd signed up for using my payment info over the years. Click, cancel, confirm. Each cancellation felt like dropping a brick I'd been carrying individually. Nothing, together, crushing. The big items needed more work. Health insurance had a 30-day notice requirement. I was the policyholder. I called the provider, navigated the automated system like I designed it myself, requested cancellation effective end of month. The rep asked if I wanted to set up COBRA for the other covered individuals. That's not my problem anymore. She paused. Sir, that leaves 4 people uninsured November 1st. I'm aware. Typing sounds. Cancellation processed. Anything else? We're done here. Car insurance was next. Called, removed every vehicle except mine from the policy. Agent warned this would leave 4 vehicles uninsured and trigger DMV notices. Send the notices to the registered owners. Understood. I'm sorry to lose your business, mister. You're not losing anything. I'm gaining my life back. Property taxes were trickier. My name was on the escrow, but not the deed. I'd been paying into their equity for 7 years. That needed a professional. I made a note. Call that law firm tomorrow morning. The business account overdraft protection was satisfying. 1 call, 15 minutes of verification, then my account was disconnected from their financial train wreck. Just to clarify, the bank rep said, future overdrafts will result in returned transactions and fees. Good. Around midnight, I found something interesting buried in old emails. A business credit line I'd guaranteed 3 years ago when Dylan needed startup capital. $15,000 limit, current balance $13,700. I called the credit line's 24-hour support. 40 minutes on hold, 2 security questions. Then the rep's tone changed when I explained what I needed. I'm submitting a guarantor revocation and requesting the account be frozen pending review. Keyboard clicks. That'll freeze the account immediately. Primary holder receives notification at 8 a.m. and needs to provide alternative collateral within 72 hours, or the balance becomes due in full. Perfect. Process it. More typing. Done. Anything else? We're done here. By 1 a.m., I'd systematically dismantled 14 years of financial infrastructure. Every automatic payment canceled, every guarantee revoked, every safety net removed. My phone still showed 0 messages from the family chat. Reality was about to provide continuing education. I opened a fresh spreadsheet and documented everything. Screenshots of cancellation confirmations, reference numbers, timestamps. When this got ugly, I wanted documentation. Around 2 a.m., I remembered something. Their home safe. I'd been storing documents there for years because my name was on half of them anyway. Property deeds, insurance policies, investment accounts Dad had opened under my credit. Everything proving who owned what, sitting in their safe with my name all over it. I grabbed my keys and drove to their house. The place was dark. I still had a key from 2016 when they'd given me emergency access. Let myself in quietly. Found the safe in Dad's office. Same combination since 2017 because Dad never updated anything. Inside was exactly what I expected. And some surprises. House deed. My name as mortgage guarantor because in 2018 they couldn't refinance without my credit score. Business papers. My name as registered agent because Dad's credit was too trash to file properly. Investment accounts. My social security number as primary because someone needed good credit to open them. Life insurance. Me listed as beneficiary and premium payer because someone had to make sure they didn't lapse. I photographed the safe contents first. Every document, every page, every angle. Then I boxed copies of my records. Anything with my name, my SSN, or my signatures. Left everything else exactly where it sat. On the way out, I noticed their mail. Unopened bills. Past due notices for stuff I usually handled before it became problems. A foreclosure warning on the storage unit I'd stopped paying for tonight. I left everything where it sat. They wanted to be done with me. They could handle their own mail now.
Back home at 3 a.m., I sent one email to a law firm I'd looked up after a particularly brutal family dinner last year. Never contacted them, just saved the info like a fire extinguisher. Subject: urgent, family financial separation. Body: need immediate consultation on separating from 14 years of joint obligations. Extensive documentation available. Can meet tomorrow morning. I hit send and went to bed. For the first time in 14 years, I slept like someone with nothing left to lose. My phone started buzzing around 3:40 a.m. I'd been asleep maybe 30 minutes. deep enough that the vibration felt like it was coming from inside my bones. Grabbed it off the nightstand, squinting at the screen through one eye. Dylan. 23 missed calls in 6 minutes. I let it ring 4 more times before answering. What? His voice came through, ragged, panicked, like someone had just told him his entire life was on fire. What the heck did you do? I sat up, turned on the lamp, checked the time. Exactly what I said I'd do. The business account is frozen. My credit line is suspended. Maris just got an email about her car insurance lapsing. What the heck? Sounds like your consulting venture is meeting consequences. You can't just what? Remove myself from financial obligations with people who are done with me? Pretty sure that's exactly what I can do. Silence. The kind where you can hear someone's brain trying to find an explanation that doesn't make them look like a jerk. That's not what we meant, he finally said. I laughed. Actually laughed out loud. What did you mean then? More silence. Longer this time. That's what I thought. I glanced at my alarm clock. 3:43 a.m. Why are you calling at 4 in the morning about this? Business problems usually wait until business hours. Because everything hit at once. The bank sent notices, insurance sent notices. My landlord is losing his mind because the rent check bounced. Your rent bounced because you were paying personal expenses from the business account. Business account had overdraft protection from my checking. I disconnected that tonight. You can't do this to us. Us. You keep saying us. But that family meeting, the one I'm not invited to, that's not an us situation. That's a you and them situation. I'm just respecting boundaries you drew. His voice got smaller, scared. Please, we need time. You had 14 years to figure this out. You spent it treating me like a utility bill you forgot to pay. That's not fair. What's not fair is finding out my family thinks I'm judgmental while I'm literally looking at automatic transfers keeping your lives running. What's not fair is paying $380 for your engagement dinner and not even getting acknowledged. And you still had the nerve to call me the problem. I heard voices in the background. Female, probably, Maris. Then Dad's voice, muffled but urgent. Dad wants to talk to you. Tell Dad I'll talk to him through my legal counsel during business hours. Legal? Come on. I hung up. The phone started ringing again immediately. I powered it down completely, set it on the nightstand, stared at my ceiling. Part of me waited for guilt to show up, to feel like I'd gone too far, to feel that familiar pull to fix things, make peace, be the bigger person. I felt nothing but satisfaction.
He leaned back. You've been remarkably patient. Most people would have drawn boundaries years ago. He tapped his pen. Good news, you documented everything meticulously. Bad news, they'll argue voluntary gifts, that you gave freely and never wanted recognition. I don't want repayment, I want separation. He smiled. Even better, we're severing future obligations and clarifying ownership on shared assets. The house is the problem. Your name's a mortgage guarantee. You're a co-owner. You paid property taxes for 7 years. That's substantial equity. Options 3. Force a sale and take your equity, negotiate a buyout if they refinance, or release your claim for other considerations. He pulled the deed closer. Their credit's destroyed, so a buyout is unlikely. We give them 90 days to refinance. When they can't, we file for a partition sale, 6 months total. The business guarantees I pulled. Bank reassesses when a guarantor withdraws. If they can't find collateral, the account freezes and the balance comes due. $13,700. They're not paying that. Business closes. He'll probably file bankruptcy. Good. He looked at me over his glasses. Not judging, just confirming. I mean it. I believe you. He's been running that business on my checking account for 3 years. Another note. Insurance cancellations are clean. You're the policyholder. They'll get COBRA offers at full premium, probably $1,600 monthly. They can't afford that. Not my problem. Not yours either. He flipped pages. The documents from the safe prove financial entanglement more than I expected. Next step, I draft a formal separation agreement. Details every account, every obligation, every shared asset. Certified mail to all parties. 30 days to respond. If they contest, we have documentation. If they don't, we proceed. Cost $5,000 retainer. I bill at $350 hourly. Figure $14,000 total. I thought about the $412,000 I'd given them over 14 years. $14,000 to get clean was a bargain. Do it. I signed, transferred the retainer from my phone. One more thing, he said. They'll try to negotiate. Emotional appeals, threats, back to appeals. Don't engage directly. Route everything through me. If they show up at your place, call the police. Document threats, messages, voicemails, anything. We shook hands. My phone buzzed in the parking lot. Mom, we need to talk. This is getting out of control. I forwarded it to the firm without responding. I ignored my phone all morning. Around 1:30 p.m., my work phone rang. Front desk. Someone's here to see you. Says she's your mother. Oh, man. Mom stood near security wearing her church cardigan. The visitor badge looked wrong on her. Outside, we walked to the parking lot, found a spot by the dumpsters. Honey, this needs to stop. What needs to stop? You know what. The accounts, the insurance. Your father is beside himself. You texted that I should lose your number, that you were done with me. The whole family voted me off the island. Now you're upset I actually left. We were frustrated. About what? I paid your dinner bill Saturday without complaint. How is that acting superior? She looked at the pavement. You always seem so judgmental. I wasn't keeping score, but I am now. Want to know what 14 years of quiet help costs? $412,000. That's documented. Her face went pale. That can't be right. It's verified. My legal counsel has copies. Your legal counsel? You actually hired someone? You ended the family relationship. I'm formalizing the business separation. But the house... Your father said you took the deed. I took copies of documents with my name on them, including the deed listing me as co-owner, because Dad couldn't refinance without my credit in 2018. We didn't know you felt this way. You never asked. You just assumed I'd always help. Assumed I'd tolerate being called judgmental while paying your property taxes for 7 years. She tried softer, motherly. We're family. Family works through problems. Family doesn't mock each other to future in-laws. Family doesn't take help for granted, then act shocked when it stops. What do you want? An apology? Money? I want nothing from you. That's the entire point. You can't just abandon family. I looked at her, this woman who'd given birth to me but never actually seen me. Watch me. I walked back inside. The front desk looked concerned. Everything all right? Everything's fine. If anyone else from my family shows up, I'm unavailable. Back at my desk, I emailed the firm. Mom showed up at workplace. No threats made. Conversation documented. Response came in 3 minutes. Noted. Workplace harassment strengthens our case. Around 6:30 p.m., my work phone rang again. Your father is here now. He seems upset. Tell him I left already. 15 minutes later. He's still here. Says he'll wait. Call security. Non-employee refusing to leave. 20 minutes after that, security escorted him out. He left papers at the desk. Send them to my legal counsel tomorrow. I'll email you the address. I stayed until 8:30. Drove home a different route, parked 3 blocks away. My phone had 41 new messages. Didn't read them. Around 10 p.m., the firm called. They're panicking. Health insurance cancellation notice arrived. Car insurance lapsed. Bank called about business credit line. It's all hitting simultaneously. Good. Your father tried arguing legal claim to the documents. I explained ownership. He hung up on me. Stay strong. This is the hard part. They'll try every manipulation tactic. Don't engage. After we hung up, I sat thinking about all the times I'd caved. Every guilt trip, every emergency. Not anymore. I wasn't the villain for setting boundaries. I was just done being the safety net for people who'd never catch me if I fell. 3 weeks played out like dominoes. Dylan's business died first. Credit line freeze triggered a chain reaction. Biggest client demanded immediate payment for overdue invoices floating on credit that no longer existed. When Dylan couldn't pay, they canceled. 2 other clients bailed. The whole thing folded in 8 days. Insurance lapse hit Mom and Dad next. Doctor's appointment rejected. Insurance terminated. Dad's blood pressure meds cost $380 out of pocket. He called screaming. I hung up, blocked his number. Car insurance lapse triggered DMV notices. Dylan got pulled over on day 14, uninsured vehicle, $850 fine plus impound. Had to leave his BMW because he couldn't afford the release. Storage unit went to auction day 17. Everything Dylan stored for 3 years sold for $280 total. $6,000 in my payments, gone. Without my property tax payments, the county sent a delinquency notice, 30 days or face a lien. They couldn't refinance, credit scores in the low 500s, no bank would touch them. The firm called, they're asking for more time. Tell them 90 days to refinance or the house goes to sale. Maris broke off the engagement on day 18. She'd finally seen Dylan's bank statements, realized his entire lifestyle had been subsidized by his brother. She moved out the same day. Dylan's texts got increasingly desperate. I blocked his number on day 20. Aunt Drusilla tried calling my work. You're taking this too far. Your parents are losing their house. Their house, not mine. If they want to keep it, they can refinance independently. You know they can't. Then they can't afford it. Problem solved. Hung up, blocked her number. Weirdest development came day 23. A message from Maris using someone else's phone. Hey, I know this is random, but I wanted to apologize. Dylan told me a lot of things about you that were lies. I didn't realize how much he was hiding or how much you'd helped him. Not asking for anything. Just wanted you to know not everyone thinks you're the bad guy. Maris, thanks for reaching out. Appreciate the honesty. No hard feelings. By week 4, the pattern was clear. Anger, guilt, promises, threats, apologies, back to anger. I stayed quiet, let the firm handle communication, documented everything. I took that trip to Norway I'd been postponing for 4 years. 10 days of hiking, fjords, absolute silence. No emergency calls, no guilt trips. Last night in Bergen, sitting in a harborside cafe watching the sunset, I got a text from Dad. We need to talk, really talk, about how we got here and how we fix it. I deleted the message without responding. A few weeks before the auction, I was on my back porch, my apartment porch, looking at trees in the parking lot. My phone buzzed. Text from Dad. We need you at the bank today. Clerical issue with the refinance. If you don't come, we lose everything. Please. I showed up, walked into the conference room, and saw Dylan, Dad, Mom, and a loan officer with papers spread out. They needed me to re-sign as guarantor, co-sign the refinance. Dad stood up. Thank you for coming. We just need your signature on a few... I laughed. Actually laughed. Turned around and walked out. Got to my car and drove home. Made dinner, went to bed at a reasonable hour, no emergency calls, no guilt trips. Just peace. The house sold at auction month 5. Couldn't refinance, couldn't find a cosigner. Bank wouldn't extend deadlines. The property went for $420,000. Outstanding mortgage was $285,000. After fees and the second mortgage they'd taken out without me telling them, about $52,000 remained. My documented contributions entitled me to roughly $34,000.
The check arrived on a Thursday. I donated half to a charity helping families with medical debt. The other half went toward a down payment on a small house across town. 2 bedrooms, garage. Mine. My name on the deed, nobody else's. Dylan got a warehouse job eventually. Night shifts, entry level. Heard through a mutual friend he was taking the bus, renting a room from a coworker. Mom and Dad downsized to an apartment smaller than mine. At 62 and 60, they were starting over with whatever savings they'd managed to keep, which wasn't much. Aunt Drusilla kept her PR campaign going another month. Told everyone I was cruel, unstable, vindictive, that I destroyed my family over hurt feelings. I didn't correct her. People who wanted to believe I was the villain would believe it regardless of evidence. Eventually, most extended family stopped talking to me. I didn't care. Turns out I didn't like most of them anyway. I started dating, met someone eventually. Kate, CPA, had her own house, own car, own life. Didn't need me to fix anything. She asked about my family once. I gave the short version. We don't talk anymore. Long story. Lot of boundary issues. She nodded. I get it. Sometimes family is the hardest boundary to set. My mom had addiction issues. Spent my 20s trying to save her. Finally realized I couldn't. Cut contact 6 years ago. Best decision I ever made. We understood each other. 7 months after everything went down, I was grilling in my backyard on a Saturday. Kate was helping prep vegetables. Radio playing classic rock. My phone buzzed. Text from an unknown number. "This is your father. Your mother is in the hospital. Heart attack. She's asking for you. Please come." I stared at it, set my phone down, flipped the burgers. 30 seconds later, another buzz. Different unknown number. "It's Dylan. Mom's in bad shape. She keeps saying your name. Dad's a mess. We need you here, man. Please." Kate glanced at my phone. "Everything okay? Family emergency?" "The kind that shows up right when I'm happy." Another buzz. "This is serious. She won't stop crying. Keeps saying she's sorry, that she wants to make things right. Don't let the last thing between you be that fight. Please, Dylan." I drove over anyway. Not because I believed them. I wanted to see the play. Pulled into the hospital parking lot 20 minutes later. Walked through the sliding doors into the ER waiting area, and there they were, camped by check-in right next to triage, like they'd rehearsed it. Dad, Dylan, Mom, Aunt Drusilla. For some reason, Mom was sitting in a chair, scrolling her phone. No hospital gown, no IV, no wristband. Looked healthier than she had at Christmas. They saw me and immediately went into performance mode. Dad stood up fast. "Thank God you're here." "She's not in the directory." A beat of silence. "What?" Dad's face did something weird. "I called ahead, asked the operator. No patient under that name. No ER admission today. So either Mom's here under a fake name or this is nonsense." Mom's face went red. "I am here for a consultation. You texted heart attack. It was a panic attack. They needed to rule out, so you're not dying. That's not the point." Dylan stepped forward, hands up like he was calming a wild animal. "Man, we just need you to sign something." I looked past him at the check-in desk, saw the clipboard sitting there, walked over and picked it up before anyone could stop me. Header at the top, responsible party, guarantor authorization. I read the first 3 lines. Medical billing, financial responsibility, co-signer for outstanding charges. I looked at Dad. "You didn't have a heart attack. You had a script." His mouth opened. Nothing came out. Mom stood up. "We just need a fall guy. That's not... You needed someone to stick with her medical bills because you can't afford them. So you crafted a little family emergency, got Dylan to text from a burner, coordinated the timing, even brought Aunt Drusilla as backup guilt." Aunt Drusilla's face went tight. "This is about your mother's health. Her health is fine. This is about her copay." Dad's voice cracked. "Please, we're drowning here. The apartment, the bills, everything's falling apart. Just this once." "You mean again. Please, I'm asking. Just sign the form." I looked at him, at Dylan, at Mom sitting there like I was the one making this awkward. They really thought this was clever. I set the clipboard back on the counter, turned and walked toward the exit. Dad's voice behind me. "Please." I didn't stop. Got to my car, drove home. Kate was still on the porch when I got back. Burgers were resting under foil. "How'd it go?" "Mom's fine. Panic attack turned out to be a billing problem." She smiled a little, handed me a seltzer. My phone buzzed twice more that night. 2 more unknown numbers. I blocked them both without reading. By Sunday morning, they'd stopped trying. Some bridges you burn. Some you just stop maintaining until they collapse on their own. Either way, I wasn't crossing back.